welcome to the 2026 Cleveland Kolački cooking demonstration. With me here is Joe Valencic, and I am so excited about this year's partnership with Slovenian Union of America.
Kolački is a wonderful Slovenian tradition. How we keep up our identity as Slovenians in the U.S. is through our holidays, through food and music. We're here at the National Cleveland Style Polka Hall of Fame, our Slovenian-American Music Museum. But food is a real part of our universal language, and it's why we've won over so many good friends around the country. I'm Joe Valencic, President of the Slovenian Union of America. This year we are celebrating 100 years, it's our centennial, and we have festivities going on around the country wherever we have a Slovenian Union branch. We're proud to partner here in Cleveland, the largest settlement of Slovenians outside of Europe, with Cleveland Kolački to celebrate culture, food, music, and so many fine traditions. Slovenian Union of America was founded by Marie Prislin back in 1926, originally as the Slovenian Women's Union of America. Men have been an equal partner now in the organization for the past 20 years, but in the early years, Marie felt that it was important for Slovenian women to network around the country, to share tips about family life, raising children, stories about faith, about immigration, a veritable support system before there was an internet, through our magazine, through our branches and our meetings. And even today, the Slovenian Union of America still serves a vital function to bring culture to the forefront wherever there are Slovenians around the country. We have about 25 branches and other affiliates. We have cultural interest groups. It seems like wherever you go in America, you can find something Slovenian to do with the Slovenian Union of America. Nobody does Slovenian better than Slovenian Union of America. If you'd like to find out more about us, you can look up slovenianunion.org, find out about our trip to Slovenia in June. We're also having celebrations in Minnesota and elsewhere around the country for our 100th anniversary.
We have today two wonderful members of Slovenian Union of America who will be showing us how they make dishes that are family favorites in their house. And also, I want to give the floor to Joe to tell us a little bit about the long history of cooking and documentation of recipes that Slovenian Union of America has had in the United States.
Culinary traditions have always been important to the members of the Slovenian Union of America. Even going back generations, our group has been publishing Slovenian-themed cookbooks on a regular basis, even today. We're happy to be partnering with Cleveland Kolački on presenting two of our favorite recipes with two of our Cleveland area members. We're also going to be offering you some vintage Slovenian nationality recipes online. So thank you for your interest in Slovenian Union of America. Thank you, Cleveland Kolački, for helping us spread the good word about Slovenian food, Slovenian music, and just the joy of being Slovenian.
If you want to interact with our presenters, please go ahead and you can write your questions and comments in the comments section on YouTube and Facebook. And over the next few days, we will be responding to those on behalf of the presenters. Or if you've made them and have different ways that you've done it, you can share that with everybody as well. Hi everybody, welcome to the 2026 Cleveland Kolački. I am here with Berni Blatnik. Berni, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be making today.
We're going to be making žlinkrofi. It begins with a Z. To me, it was a poor man's dish. If we had roast beef, or had chicken soup, or if we had a pork roast, whatever was left over, my mom would put in the freezer or the refrigerator, and you put it in a dumpling. You know, the Polish have pierogi, the Italians have rigatoni. No, they have, what's the one that's, I forgot what it is. It's ravioli. Yeah, that's what it is. And, but this we grew up on. And it's hearty. We never had waste. We were poor growing up. And this was a make-do meal for us.
Thank you for sharing that. So we talked a little bit before we started here. Tell us about some of the meat that we're looking at. And you mentioned we can save leftovers essentially in the freezer or fridge and then utilize them for this. So what kind of meat do we have?
We have honey baked ham from Christmas that I froze. I have homemades that I made, Slovenian homemades. That I have a couple that were frozen and the rest I cooked yesterday. And we have pork roast from New Year's that I had frozen. And we're gonna put this together and it's delicious.
Perfect. And then after we make the dumplings, you're gonna show us how to use the dumplings, right?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about what we can look forward to.
Okay, we're gonna have soup, and that's our favorite way of having it. Or you can have it like a pierogi, put it in butter and breadcrumbs and have it as a side dish.
Perfect. All right, so we have a lot to cover. Let's get started.
Okay, 4 cups of flour. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of salt. Okay, and I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of oil. Come on, salt. Okay. 2 tablespoons of oil and 2 eggs and some warm water. So this is all stuff that you have in the house, I'm sure. But you will be surprised how good it is. I have a cousin who's recuperating from a back-to-back surgery. She had surgery and then fell and had another surgery. And I says, can I come over and be your nurse? I speak over. And she says, no. And I said, can I bring you žlinkrofi? Hell yes. That you can bring me. Okay, I'm doing 2 beaten eggs, but I'm just doing 2 eggs now because I'm lazy. But that's what the recipe says, 2 beaten eggs and a cup of warm water. Okay, I'm just mixing this like this. And like old Slovenians, I'm gonna get my hands in there. They are clean. And I'm gonna mix it. It's just eggs and flour and water, some salt, a little bit of oil, keep it together. And the reason I'm doing the dough first is because it has to set for about an hour, but we'll let it set about 20 minutes so I can grind the meat. Okay, see now it's kind of sticky. And it's too sticky for me. See this? It's too sticky. We can't do that because it will stick on our pan when we're rolling it. So I'm putting more flour in there. And see, that's the thing. It's all about touch. And if any of you know how to make anything, you know that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That's what it's supposed to look like. It's a real soft dough. See that? The dough is taking a nap, it's resting. I am cutting up this meat. I used to use that old-fashioned grinder that you put on the side of the thing, and I still have it, except those are on wooden tables. And if I would use it on this, I would run a risk of cracking it. So I can't, I have to do it with this. And of course, this only takes small amounts, so it takes longer, you know. But it was so much better to do it with the old-fashioned grinder. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. Okay, a little piece in there. Now this is really small. You see that? It's ground up pork. Feels good. So I'm cutting up the ham It's going to go into the grinder. I'm going to cut up homemades, the pork, all good stuff. If you want a sandwich, you can. Our meat is being ground, and I am, we need a medium onion to go in for flavoring and some garlic. I took the liberty of cutting up the onion already, and I will brown it, and then I'll add the garlic to it, and I'll put it through the blender too. So this is what I'm doing. I have a little bit of oil. I mean a little bit of oil. And I'm going to put this in to brown. I'm browning onions. And electric stove takes forever. It looks like they're going fine. They're a little bit brown, and that's what I want them to be. At this point, I'm going to put in some garlic that I had. Now we browned our onion, and I put some garlic in there. Okay, this is the perfume that we put in. Look at it, the flavor. And I'm going to mix that in. I'll just set that there. Okay, now I'm going to add 2 eggs. But because this ended up being so much meat that I had, I'm putting in 4 eggs. But if you follow the directions with just 2 pounds of meat, you won't have this problem. This is my problem. So now I'm taking my fingers. This is how you do it. It calls for a quarter cup of breadcrumbs. What's that going to do to this? But that's if your meat is really wet. That's pretty dry. Okay, here's my cutting board or rolling out board. It's just the one that you use for pies or whatever. You can use a tablecloth, but it's hard to find a cotton tablecloth. Most of them right now are synthetic, and they don't really handle rolling better or well, you know. So here we are. We got some dough, and you know, you don't have to use your ham and things from the holidays. You have leftover hot dogs. You have any kind of meat. You want chicken, you can put in there and put some flavor in it. Put some garlic and something else and grind them and put them in a dough. And it's good. And you know, some people have allergies, so they can't, or they have religious things. They don't want to have pork. So then you have a beef hot dog. They have beef sausages. You can use breakfast sausages. You can use whatever. And the sky's the limit, and it will taste wonderful. You will like it. This is my exercise for today. Okay, how's that? Good. Okay, then you take your cutter, your cookie cutter. And the idea is to start with a straight line, about 2 inches by 2 inches. You want these to be, and this thing is like wobbly, look at, and then these end ones are going to be funny ones. We might glue them together. My nails are too long. Okay, so I have a little bit here. I squeezed it together. That's the thing, you have to make that more solid. Press the sides. They stretch. This dough stretches. Pressing this down. And it's going to be messy. And if you have your kids help you, it's going to be messier. But it's worth it. Press it in the center. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's something's on the end or isn't on the end. These are not perfect. Just like the meat that we put in there, you know. Some people do this that I have seen. They take these two ends and go up, and then these two ends up, and then close it. And they don't have nails because see, like this. You can do that. I mean, you know, and if you wanted to have a party and they're prettier, but this is how we like them. We made all different kinds of dumplings. So there's no one kind. We have round ones. This is the shape that I like best. And that's what I was taught. I'm going to put them in boiling water. And when they float, I'm going to put them in soup. And then we're going to have a meal. So I'm putting them in like this. And you'll see they're going to float. Probably about a good 5 minutes. That you want to make sure that they're sealed. And the reason you're doing this is because you had them in flour. And if you would put this right in soup, your soup would have flour in it. It would almost be like a gravy. So this is what this water is doing, is cleaning off the flour. It's cooking your noodles. And then we're going to have soup. Take these out with a slotted spoon. I'm putting this into a pot of soup, and I'll tell you about the soup. See, take them right out. Put them in here. I have some noodles in there that I cooked. And this is what you have. And that's your soup. Isn't that pretty? It's still cooking. Now I've got some butter going. I'm going to put some breadcrumbs in here. And I'm going to take some of those cooked dumplings and put them in here. And you can see what you're doing. You don't put you don't fry the raw ones. I know that we do that with pierogi, but I don't know, the dough must be a little bit different. Okay, you always measure. Right. I'm going to grab some and put it in here. You see that? And you just coat them and they're pretty to eat. This could be a side dish. You can serve this with meat, even though there's meat in this. You can serve it with different cheeses on top. You can put sour cream on them. You can put ketchup on them, whatever you want. And you'll be amazed how good they are. This is the fruit of our labor. I'm making, this is the soup. There's some noodles and there's some žlinkrofi. Now we're done. We made our noodles, our žlinkrofi. It's here in soup. And here is our fried žlinkrofi. So I'm going to taste it. And if I don't drop dead in the next 15 minutes, then it's good to eat. Good. Let me try this one. Like I said, you can put anything you want on these. Remember, you have to cook them before you put them in breadcrumbs. These are very good. You will like them. Try this.
Hi everybody, welcome to Cleveland Kodansvania 2026. This is one of our 2 cooking and baking demonstrations. This year we are featuring members from Slovenian Union of America, and here with me today, welcome Cookie Maxon.
Hi, my name is Cookie. I'm glad to do this. This is something we've shared with my family for a long time. So, and I just took it on. So, and it's kolački. So.
Awesome. And we have a lot of steps to go through. You have prepared the dough already. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And also notable for people viewing at home is that we have the recipe online. So look in the link of the description of this video and you can find it there.
Sure. The recipe is pretty simple. That's why I make it ahead of time, because you do need to chill it for at least overnight. A few hours or at least overnight. So, and it's basically just cream cheese. This recipe I use is 3 ounces of cream cheese, a half a cup of butter softened, and 1 cup of flour. And I just use Philadelphia cream cheese, pure cream cheese, not the reduced fat. And then I use unsalted butter.
Okay.
And I usually do Land O'Lakes butter.
Perfect.
So, and then all-purpose flour, 1 cup.
Okay, great.
So.
All right, so what's the first step?
Okay. Well, once the dough is chilled, and I take it out and get it to like a little bit of room temperature before I start rolling. I put a tablecloth on my counter. Some people, you don't need to do that. But it has to be 100% cotton tablecloth, because it cannot have any threads, because that will get in your dough. So I put flour on my surface. It doesn't matter how much. I mean, I just always make sure that there's enough. And then I take my dough. And I usually put it in 2 pieces when I chill it, and I flatten it so it's easier to roll instead of a ball. Some people do balls. So, and then you just get it. It's a little hard still, just so you know, but that's normal because it's still cold. So, and then you just start rolling. You want to roll it into 1/8 of an inch is what you want to get it at. So, my trick is, I put the tablecloth here and I lean so that it doesn't move. Just one of my little tricks. And you see the dough is pretty forgiving. It's not hard to work with. It's just you got to get it soft. And you just roll. One-eighth of an inch. So it's hard to judge. It's not vital to be exactly, so you'll know when you start cutting and folding if it's too thick or too thin. Then I have this handy dandy little tool that it will, because you want to cut in 2.5 inch squares is what you're going to cut. So this little handy tool kind of does a lot at one time. So I try to use as much dough as I can, and you just roll it. And then what I do is I just pick up all these little pieces, because these are not going to make any kolački. Those will be in a second roll. Okay, then you take your cookie sheet. I line it with parchment paper, and you put them on here. And then we'll fill them and fold them. That one's too big. The fillings I purchase at a baking store. Sometimes Giant Eagle sells them. I bought mine in Amish country, and they come in like a big, like a roll, like a tube. Or you can buy them in cans at the grocery store. I just can't remember the name of it, but you can get any filling. I normally use apricot, cheese. I make my own cheese filling, and raspberry, because those are the most popular. Some people do nut. I do not do nut. My family's not a nut family. So, and then you just take about 1/2 teaspoon, put it in the center. When I wrap them, I think of wrapping a baby. You want to wrap them so that one, you want to push it down, and the other one touches the filling, because that's going to keep them closed. That makes sense. So wrapping a baby in a blanket is what you're doing. That's what I always say. One recipe renders approximately 75 kolačkis. Again, it depends on the size. If you make them a little smaller, you're going to get smaller ones, because 2.5 is what they recommend and what I use, but you can go smaller. Some people, just so you know, some people put water to keep them closed because sometimes they will open. I'm not big into the water. And there will be some that opens, but that's okay. And then you put them in the oven, 350, and you put them in for 10 minutes. My oven is a little temperamental lately, so it might take longer. These are the cream cheese filling. You can buy the cheese filling in the same tubes. I really don't like the flavor, so I make my own. And it basically is cream cheese, sugar, egg yolk, and vanilla. And you just mix it together, and then you just put it in the refrigerator so it gets thicker. You can also mix this with different fruits. So if you want to do cheese with the raspberry, cheese with the apricot, you can do that for a little bit of variety. And you'll see the filling doesn't have any seeds. It doesn't have any bumps. That's the whole idea about using these kind of fillings. So like if you were thinking of using pie filling will not work well. I have been part of the SUA branch 111. Originally it was 50 since I was a child. So it's been over 40 years that I've been a member. I was an officer at one time. My mom was a member. My sister was a member. And my brother and all my other sisters. And we used to, every year we have a Christmas party. And the Christmas parties used to be 200 and some people. And they were wonderful. Different fillings act differently. So you see this one opened right here. This one opened. This one opened. But and I'm just going to put them on a rack. These came out pretty. This is what the bottom of the cookie looks like when they're done. So again, it's like a golden brown. To store them, if you're not going to use them in the next 3 weeks, I would put them in the freezer. But you want to put them in a container that is closed. So a closed lid container, like a Tupperware, anything like that. And I usually put parchment paper in between the layers so that they don't stick to each other. And then you can freeze them for up to 2 to 3 months. You can freeze them. Not that they're going to last that long, but you can freeze them up to 2 to 3 months. But if you are going to use them, just keep them in the refrigerator or a cold place in a container with a lid. Here's the completed project.
We want to thank Cleveland Kudentovania. We love partnering with you. It is probably one of the biggest Slovenian parties in America, and Slovenian Union loves a good time.